Boy, boy, boy. I thought this was going to be a good idea. And good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highland Activity Network on this Thursday morning. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Already around 60 degrees. Going to probably be in the mid-80s today. And we're talking the end of September. We're going to kick things off. We've got Coach Matt Nielsen joining us from the Highlander Boys Tennis. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you, as usual, getting here. Of course, you're not getting up early because you're getting ready for class anyway in an hour and getting ready for school. Kind of a tough one here on Tuesday, a nail-biter against a team that I think you and I talked before. This is one you really felt you should have won.
It's one that we knew we were going to be right in. Like there was a three-way or actually four-way of how we lost to South, but Wahpeton beat South, but Wahpeton lost to West Fargo, but we beat West Fargo. So I mean, there was just a four-way group of teams that all have kind of beat each other. So we knew this one was going to be very tight going into it, and it was. Looking at the doubles, Noah Tulp and Cole Haugen actually dominated at number 3 doubles. So we got that one win, and then in the 1 and 2 doubles, Miles and Quinn won the first set, while Kellen and Colin lost the first set at number 2. But then they both they flip-flopped in the next set, so that way our number 1 lost and our number 2 won, and they forced a super tiebreak for both of them for the third set. In both super tiebreaks, it came down to the very end. The number 2 doubles with Kellen and Colin, it was tied at 8-8. We win the next 2 points, win the match. But then with Quinn and Miles, we got it to 9-9, and then we lose the next 2 points. So we're up 2-1 going into the 2-1 going into the singles. So we need to win. We need to go 3-3 in the singles.
Right.
Miles lost the first set 6-1, but he lost 3 deuce points. So if you look at that, he lost 6-1, but if those 3 deuce points goes our way, we're actually up 4-3 in the set. So I mean, it's crazy just how close. The scores could be deceiving at 6-1, but he lost that 6-1. Fought really hard in that second set. He actually forced a tiebreak, but couldn't win the tiebreak. So we lose that one. Colin played really well at 2. Lost to a pretty good kid. Quinn wins at 3, and Noah loses in a super tiebreak at 5. Cole wins at 6, so now it's 4-4 up to Kellen, and it's 4-4. He wins the first set, loses the second set, and he's been dealing with some injury throughout, and he's got some hamstring issue. And in that super, I think that it was just a little too much in his hamstring, and he tried to fight through, but he was in pain, and you could tell that he was very hampered by it, and ends up the Wahpeton kid ends up beating him. So we lose 5-4 for the third time this season, and for the third time this season, it's been 4-4. Last match out goes to a super, and we ended up losing. So I mean, if you look at that, I mean, oh man, Valley's 1-7, but I mean, we were this close to being 2-6,
exactly,
3-5, 4-4. Like it's, I mean, we're right there in the mix. So numbers 4 through 10 in the EDC are extremely close. The top 3 are definitely the top 3, and you saw the results. We were 0-9 by Red River and Grand Forks Central earlier, and then last Thursday, since we've talked, Cheyenne also 0-9'd us. So I mean, those and they've 0-9'd all the rest of them too. It's not just us. Like we have a top 3 teams that are very, very stout, and but that 4th state qualifying spot is kind of up for grabs. Where can play well coming into the region tournament, and who can just show up that day and win some matches, and that's going to be who's going to take that number 4 spot next week.
It shows how balanced this conference is. So when you get past the big 3, I know it used to be when the Big 10 in football with Michigan, Ohio State was the big 2 and the little 8. with tennis here, it's you got your 3 elites, but then 4 through 10, like you said, it's incredible.
It's completely wide open because we played the top 3. So with the other 6, we play one of them today. It's Fargo North. Fargo North is 4-4 on the season.
Okay.
I think they're a little favored against us. That like at our quad, they definitely showed up at the quad. So I mean, I think they're a pretty good team, but anything can happen.
Right.
But against the other 5, our scores were 4-5, 4-5, 4-5, 5-4, 6-3.
Right.
So I mean, like we were in every single match, and we did clip West Fargo. Which, looking ahead. So we have today, win or lose today, we're going to be away in the play-in match on Monday. Right now, we're projected to go away at West Fargo, and we'd be the 10 seed, and they would be the 7 seed. But what's good for us is that's the team that we already beat.
Right.
So we get to go away to a team that we've already taken down once, and realistically be in that 10. If we can knock off that 7, we actually put ourselves in a lot better shot to stay qualified. Because if you're the 8 or the 9. You have to play the 2 or the 3 in the state qualifier,
right.
And we said those top 3 are amazing. But if you're the 10-7 and you can make your way into the tournament and you can knock off the 6, you now play the 5 or the 4 in the state qualifier, and you have yourself a fighting chance to go.
Good opportunity. So,
I mean, even though we'd rather have that win, but looking at it like, hey, it's nothing harmed yet. Like we have 1 week to go, and Monday, if we can get a play-in win, that'd be fantastic. And then it just sets us up to, hey, can we just make a run on Thursday?
You got that 3-2 lineup is what you have when you get into the regionals. Have you guys already started to think about where you're going to be with that?
Yep, and we look at it, and against different teams, we're going to try a lot of stuff. Noah Tulp's been playing really well in the doubles, so I foresee Noah being in the doubles. Kellen with his injury, that he's shown that he can play better in the doubles also versus the singles, so he doesn't have to run down so many balls all the time in faster points. So I mean, those are 2 people that we know that, hey, these 2 are going to be some doubles, but everyone else, it's like we have to look at that other team and go, where can we get our win in singles, and then we're going to move it up depending on it. I mean, Miles we could put at 1, or we can drop him into doubles. Quinn's got a lot of wins in singles. Cole's got a lot of wins in singles, so I'd say Quinn and Cole might be singles players, but again, it's going to depend on the matchup and how our coach is feeling, and then the big thing is how the players feel too. That in my coaching career, there's been a couple times where I knew what the best lineup was to win, and I kind of forced it on my team, and they didn't believe in it.
Okay.
Well, then they didn't perform, and we lose, right?
Sure.
And there's a couple times where that was my younger days.
Yep.
In my older days, I still know what the best lineup is to win, and I explain it to them, and then the kids go, well, we like this one because of this, and I've actually acquiesced to their request.
Sure.
And they've then, because they believed in it, they performed and actually won matches. So a lot of it, you have what's on paper.
Yep.
But matches aren't played on paper, and if your team doesn't believe in what you're doing, they're not going to perform. But if your team believes in what you're doing, like they can overachieve. So you got to let them do that.
And they're part of the decision-making process, which gives them a little bit of confidence.
Yes, and that way they know that I trust them as players, and they appreciate that being kind of in control of their own destiny. And I mean, it's worked.
It's worked so far. You don't want to break it now.
Yep.
And obviously, when you get that 3-2 lineup, let's just say you get that 3-2 lineup in your 7-10 matchup, it's not going to be the same one in the next round because it change up match to match.
Yes, so every round of the region tournament and state tournament and play-in match, you have 3 singles and 2 doubles. Players only can play one of them.
Right.
But your number 1 singles has to be better than your 2, has to be better than your 3. You can't order them. However, you have to be your best to your worst. And it doesn't matter what 3. You can play your 1, 2, 3 singles, or you can play your 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter what you do, but your top singles has to be the better singles player.
Okay.
And then in doubles, the same thing. You can mix up your doubles however you want, but you're saying my 1 doubles is better than my 2 doubles. So you can try to even them out to be like, oh, I'm going to give up number 1 to try to win number 2 and even them out. Or you can be like, you know what, I'm going to hammer number 1 and put my big dogs at 1 and try to win that 1. And maybe we can squeak out a win at 2, or maybe we lose at 2. But it's definitely a lot of strategery on strategery on the coach's part. A lot of where do I think I can win, but also what do I think my opponent's going to do, and how do I combat what my opponent's going to do.
And with this team too, there's a lot of these players are very similar. They're doing it just as good, so it's really going to be a tough decision for you and the staff to kind of come up with this, isn't it?
And everybody's played their part, and well, I mean, and if you look at it, like Cole and Kellen, they both were in those third set supers, but they both and I know it's tough. Like you go, oh, I lost it for the team. You know what? There was 4 other matches.
Right.
Like we lost 2 other, like against Wapaton. Yes, Kellen was the last on. We lost a super by 2 points with Miles and Quinn. We lost a super at Noah's spot. We lost a super at Kellen's. It just makes it feel like you're the one who lost because it was 4-4. But you know, we had other opportunities, and Kellen and Cole. If you look at our win against West Fargo, the reason we won there is because Kellen pulled off his first EDC singles win ever. Like he won that to get it to 4-4.
Okay.
And then Quinn won the last match on. But realistically, like you can go, yep, Quinn finished it, but what was the real reason we were there is Kellen's never won a EDC singles match before, and he won it in a super to then allow that to happen. And looking at Cole, like he lost a third set super, but looking at the Wapaton match, he won his doubles handily. He then performed in singles and won. So he was a double winner against Wapaton. Well, if he's not a double winner,
right,
Kellen doesn't have an opportunity. So I mean, Cole and Kellen have both performed, and they're going to continue to perform. And the team trusts in them, and we trust in all of our guys, and we're just going to be ready to play today and ready to play on Monday.
It's odd that it's already to that point of the season that it's the postseason. But you've said before, you get a lot matches in a short period of time.
It is a lot, and I think the practices get a lot too. So like yesterday, it was a little hot out. We took a little more breaks. We finished a little earlier and stretched a little longer because it's tough on your bodies to go play a doubles and a singles on Tuesday, have a full practice Wednesday, play doubles and singles on Thursday. And in fact, what we're going to do with playing match on Monday is we're going to play today. Tomorrow we're going to practice just the JV because the JV has their last tournament on Saturday. So they got the JV invite on Saturday. But the varsity is not going to practice Friday because we're just going to have an hour and a half practice Sunday to make sure our bodies and everything's ready for the Monday playing match. And that JV invite's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of up and comers, a lot of 7th and 8th graders are going to get a lot of playing time. And then against Wapaton, I want to mention this is that we have new players that came out, so 7th graders and 8th graders, and Jackson Eisen was a junior that came out, got his first wins of the season, like never really played tennis before, and he got 2 wins against Wapaton, so that's a junior. And then we got Tony Wadeson and Josh Shakora, Tucker Mouche, Evan Schroeder, like all those guys got to come to Wapaton, and they all got some wins down in Wapaton, so that was a lot of fun. And those guys right there, because the JV invite only has 10, that was their last match. But they got in and they got to play and they got to win in their last match out and got to go on the bus ride, so that was a lot of fun. And then we got 10 guys playing Saturday, 4 of them in a singles bracket and 3 of them in 3 different doubles brackets, so we're going to have a lot of fun yet. So we got Thursday, Saturday, Monday, and if we win, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And let's hope that we got Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if we do lose on Monday, they still get an opportunity to play in the individual tournament. So, so they get to play Friday, Saturday if we didn't lose on Monday.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that coming up next week, how things went, and hopefully we're talking state tournament. Now, next Thursday, you'll probably be on the way to the East Region to the next round.
If there's a 9 a.m. Coaches meeting next Thursday, so if we are there, I'll be at that coaches meeting, which means we need to leave here like at about 7:30. So yes, I will. I'll have to be out, and we'll hopefully if craziness happens, then I won't be here the next Thursday if we have some craziness.
Let's hope we miss a couple of shows.
Miss a couple shows, but if we miss 2 shows, we should have a fantastic show the week after. Great one in October.
All right, Matt, appreciate it. Good luck today.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Coach Matt Nielsen joining us from the Highlander tennis team back when we're Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.
But sure, that's good.
Back around Coach's Corner here on the Highland Activity Network, and boy, it would be a perfect day for golf right now, as we're going to have 80 degrees plus outside today. We are joined by Tyler Van Bruggen, the girls golf coach here for Valley City. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, it was a quick season. We were talking about how quick it went for tennis, golf too. You guys, East Region, you're done.
All finished up on Monday. It was our EDC tournament down at Boy de Sioux in Wahpeton. Yeah, the season goes quick. Our girls report August 5th already. It's the first sport to start, so we get going right off the bat. They've got a tournament that first Friday in the year, and the rest is history. I guess 8 weeks of quick season, 7 weeks, whatever it ended up being. But
how did you see this team improve as a team, not so much individual, but as a team from that week one until this past week?
Sure. Kind of going through some stats last night as a season recap. We got our awards day coming up with the girls, and so kind of doing some of those calculations last night. And we had a range. I think our lowest one was about a 5-stroke improvement from the average from the first 3 meets to the average score that they placed in the last 3 meets. But we had one girl improve 25 strokes this year from her first 3-meet average to her last 3-meet average, and that's a win in my book. You know, when you can develop your game, you're always working towards the next meet, towards next year, and just building yourself in this lifelong sport that, you know, hey, when we're adults, we can still golf. I joke with the girls, like if I had to put on a helmet and football pads right now, I'm not sure you'd see me for a few days. I'd be recovering, but golf, you know, you can continue to do late in life, and so we're just building those fundamentals for them and working to improve, like you said.
And they had fun. I mean, they enjoy getting out there. I mean, who wouldn't want to get out on the golf course and hit that thing around and walk around and do things like that?
Absolutely, and this year we were blessed with amazing weather. We had a little bit of rain in our first meet here in Valley City. Other than that, it was beautiful the whole season. If we could count on this kind of weather, I think they'd extend the season another 2, 3, 4 weeks, but we won't get this every year. And so yeah, you get to miss a day of school, once a week, and get out to a golf course, have fun. And the camaraderie amongst players from other towns too. By the end of the season, you could see that chatter pick up, like, hey, I get to golf with so-and-so from Wahpeton today, or hey, I get to golf with so-and-so from Red River, and they get to build those relationships with those other towns too, and that's kind of special.
And then if they see those players do well, they say, hey, I got a chance to golf against them or with them during the season if they see them in the state tournament or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. They become fans of their peers, which is what it's all about, you know, supporting each other and getting out there having fun. I had a father of one of the girls come up and just say, hey, I just wanted to commend you on one of your athletes. My daughter always looks forward to seeing her name on her pairing, and she got to see that she got to play with her today, and it just made her day that she gets to go out and golf with one of your girls. And that makes me proud as a coach that our girls have that kind of reputation.
Exactly. And this was a fairly young team too, wasn't it? I think one senior?
We had one senior, Madison Nelson, 2 juniors, Veronica Remick and Chloe Weiser, and then we've got 2 sophomores, Kylie Van Bruggen and Anna McMenamin. So trying to grow those numbers. That's our number one goal as a team, getting their friends out, you know, helping starts down at that 6th grade level. But again, when you start August 5th, you don't get the chance to come back to school in the fall, recruiting your friends in the hallway saying, come out for golf, because we're 3 weeks into the season by the time that first day of school comes around.
Got to plot the seed earlier.
That's the plan for next spring. Yeah, we'll be starting in May already. So.
All right. Well, now, Boy de Sioux is where the EDC was at here. Yep. Of course, people that know that's that unusual course where you have you're in 2 states. You're in Wahpeton and Breckenridge, but do the girls enjoy that playing on a course like that?
They did, yeah. There's some difficulties of that course, but then there's some comforting areas too. There's some narrow fairways, a lot of trees, but we don't have the fescue grass that you see in some other courses like King's Walk. Not quite as much water. There's a few ponds here and there, but so it allows them to kind of swing away a little bit, but you get late in the year and you got leaves falling and stuff like that. We've practiced a lot about placing your shots. It's not about hitting that 250-yard drive down the fairway. It's maybe I'm laying up on this one, you know? Yeah. 300-yard shots in a row gets you pretty close to that green. If you can put it on the 4th and make a 4 or 5 out of it, most of our girls would take that any day. So it's not about that long ball necessarily. It's about playing the course, and every course is a little bit different. So we talked a lot about that this year. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the Boy de Sioux course? How can we use that to our advantage? One of the most difficult parts is the greens there. There's a lot of undulations and breaks and some pin placements that were kind of on the side hill that I was glad the girls were up there putting, and it wasn't up to me to be up there sinking that 8-foot putt to make par or bogey or whatever. But
well, being a young team like you said, you talked about Maddie, the lone senior, but the other 4 or 5 that'll be coming back. Now they've been around the conference, they've been around these different courses, learned some things that'll take them and help them next year.
Absolutely. Yep. I think if you ask any one of our players, they'd all say they grew this year and have grown in the past too. But one thing that's getting thrown at us now next year is we get used to the CDC and used to the teams we're playing against, get used to the courses, and now next year we go Class B.
Right.
So that'll be a different set of golf courses we got to learn again. We'll kind of play a mixture of different schools and that. And looking at our scores compared to a lot of the scores out there, we're going to fit nicely in with them. We'll have maybe a little more success team-wise, especially. We'll kind of be in the mix. And we played a mixed season this year too to help us with that. We played a few JV meets and avoided a couple varsity ones, just to let our team feel what it's like to be in the mix. You know, if we're sitting 4 back with 4 holes to go, what kind of pressure do we need to put on ourselves? What do we have to do to make that climb?
Right.
And if we're sitting at the end of the meet, sitting in last place every tournament, they don't get that experience. So hopefully those couple JV meets where we were in the hunt for a nice placing, whether it be second, third, fourth, I think was kind of the best we finished. Sitting in the hunt for that hopefully pays dividends next year in Class B, that we can rely on that experience we gained this year and how to close out a meet and finish strong.
Did you let them know, okay, now this summer, get out, and this spring, and the more you play, the better you get?
Absolutely. There's a lot of muscle memory in golf. You know, you get out and you play every day. By the end of the season, the girls could tell. The swing just came naturally. The contact with the ball was more smooth, hitting it more in the center of the club face. If they put those clubs away, just like any sport,
right.
You don't practice it all summer and you show up in the fall expecting to do well again. We're starting over from square one. We're building for 8 weeks, trying to get you better. The girls did a nice job last summer. They took it upon themselves and got their Sunday night golf group together.
Okay.
So every Sunday night they'd get together and go at about 7 o'clock, and they'd just play golf and have fun. And again, that's what it's all about, is the camaraderie and them getting together as teammates, having fun. No coaches involved, but yeah, we'll do a little summer program too, or for open to the community. We're kind of still building out with Rob and seeing what we can do to help build golf in Valley City.
And see, it's, if they are doing that into their 60s and 70s, that they're playing golf together on Sundays when they're older.
Absolutely. And I told the girls I'm still getting better. I think I'm playing my best golf now that I ever have, but I'd hate to see shooting a basketball hoop right now, or
it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, right. Or putting on those helmet and shoulder pads for football would not be pretty right now. But
it wouldn't be something to watch. Oh, Tyler, I appreciate you joining us today, and look forward to next year. Hey, get you on all season long, and because you're right, it kind of sneaks up. It's in August, and you're like, oh, golf has already started.
Absolutely.
So we got to get that rolling. But appreciate you again joining us, and congratulations on just having a season that the girls enjoyed and improved with, and that's the main thing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Paul.
You bet, Coach. That is Tyler Van Bruggen from Valley City Highlander Girls Golf. Back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network, and now moving into Highlander Cross Country. Coach Deb Bilkey joining us from the Highlanders. How you doing, Coach?
Good, thank you.
It's a nice day to run, but then it's going to get hot later on today. But I don't know if you want to run in 85-degree weather.
Oh yeah, we do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, you do. They do.
We're good.
They
We're
enjoy
good.
that. We're good with that. Let's just go back last week, Bjornsson, the blue and white, the Bill Jansen invite here at Bjornsson on Saturday. A lot of teams in town, and how did you feel things went here overall for the Highlanders?
I think it went really well. We had a lot of kids running new races.
Mm-hmm.
We had our younger kids jump up to the 4K because that's all we offer,
Right.
and it's nice to see how they adjust to that. And then I had several of the younger kids. I had Carter, Bryson, and Garrett jump up to the 5K. So it's a big jump for those kids, and I feel they performed very well. We had 14 kids that ran their regular races, and 10 of them ran their season best
Okay.
on one of the tougher
Yep.
courses. It was tough and windy,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
they performed very well.
What is that? Is that 0.62 miles? Is that to jump from 4K to 5K?
Yep.
Okay. So not too bad, but still it'd be, maybe it's not too bad if I think about it, but if I ran it, I'm going, okay, yeah, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, and especially with the 4K, they had to do incline, which is about 0.3 of a mile,
Okay.
a slight incline, and it happened to be against the wind.
Of course.
And then they had to do that twice.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that kind of puts it in perspective a little bit. But it was, I tell them when you get to the top, then you get to go downhill with the wind. So, it's kind of a payoff.
It is. It's tick for tack
Yeah.
on that. Of course, now with the season's getting down there, and now this week I think you're up in Grand Forks at, now are they Kings Walk, or where do they run the courses up there?
Lincoln Park.
In Lincoln Park, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, that's the border battle, and this is the third year of Grand Forks running this. They wanted it to become a huge meet, and there's, I think, 85 teams,
Okay.
which will be about 2,400 athletes.
Wow.
And then they split it into, I believe there's 11 races. So the seventh grade, we'll start out with the seventh grade boys, and there's like 120 seventh grade boys that run that. And then it'll move on to just the seventh grade girls. And then we do the eighth grade boys, eighth grade girls.
Okay.
And then they have JV runs that are 5Ks.
Okay.
And then their varsity runs, they have an A division, which we will be in because it's for 300 or 399 in your school and below.
Oh, okay.
And so we will run in that division. And then there is a double A for the ones above the
Sure.
large schools. And in those races, you can only take your top 7.
Okay.
So it's a pretty elite race.
Sure.
But it's fun to watch, and it's a long day, but it's fun to watch other athletes as they compete too, and
And now, what kind of course is Lincoln Park?
it's pretty flat.
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where we run EDC.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice. We get that initial taste of it again. A lot of the kids, the older kids that have been in the program, have run that several times already because we've run Border Battle in the past, and then we ran EDC there the last 2 years.
Okay. As we get down there now, or get into this weekend, who do you think out of your team would be, this is a course for them, would be strong on a course like this?
I think they all are.
Are they?
They're used to ups and downs. When I run, I like it rolly because I do like, when you go up a hill versus going down a hill versus flat, you just use different muscles.
Okay.
And so a lot of times you work your way up, and then on the way down you rest some of those muscles. But the kids really like a flat course. I found out when we ran at Castleton a week
Okay.
ago, that one was really flat, and they really enjoyed that.
You mentioned, it just popped into my head, the 3 young men that moved up to 5K from 4K. How did you feel they did in those races that when they added those extra 0.6 of a mile?
Actually, some of them were adding 1.2 because they ran from the 3K up to the 5K.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I had 2 seventh grade boys, and that's huge for a seventh grade boy to run in a varsity. A lot of times they're not strong enough to do it or to compete in it. And 1 8th grade boy, but it's a huge jump for them, but they were ready for it. They were excited for it. And when they finished, they go, I kind of like that better than the shorter race, because you can run that
Okay.
same pace,
Yep.
but you can run longer,
Right.
and so all three of them, they really enjoyed it.
Have you found too with some of these maybe some of the older kids that maybe are just in their first or second year with cross country? I know one example is someone I chatted with the other day, Autumn Anderson. Kind of wish she started younger. Is that something too you hear from some of these kids? Yeah, I wish I did this a couple years ago.
Yeah, once they, everybody says they can't run, but, human nature, we're born to run. It's just how fast and how far.
Right.
And how much we want to run.
Right.
But once they get into the program, and I notice this a lot with, we had 16 brand new students or athletes this year, but they don't know for sure if they really want to do it. And then they're in it, and after their first race, I think they're hooked, because it's just a different feeling that you've done something all by yourself. You didn't have to rely on your teammates. Even though they're out there cheering, you're still the one that has to get from the start to the finish.
Right.
And not stop.
Yeah.
And sometimes they walk a little bit to start with, and then later on they'll come across and they'll go, I didn't even walk today. So sometimes that's just the biggest accomplishment for some. But yeah, it's fun to see that, and I'm excited when they start young because then they don't miss out on that constant improvement.
And it's one of those sports you're not competing against other. Well, you are running in a group, but it's more you're against the course or the clock that you're competing against or with.
Right, and it's something like golf that you talked about earlier. It's something you can do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And just this year, I had one of my older athletes ran a half marathon, and then the other day somebody ran the full marathon. So it's kind of fun to see that once they get out and they're not told to do stuff, that they actually enjoy the sport itself.
How much we have? Because we got about 3 weeks left before the EDC, or because we got they got the border battle this weekend.
And then next week we go to Holly, and that's going to be a new one for us. It sounded kind of fun, and they said that one's hilly, but it's on the Holly golf course.
And I've been there many a time.
Is it hilly?
It is very hilly.
Okay,
trust me.
But we run hills every day. I mean, we ran the soccer hill yesterday. We went up that thing 7 times, and but. That one, and then we have EDC.
Okay.
And then after EDC, we have a fun meet that Fargo South puts on at Moorhead, and everybody runs a 5K. They put all the girls on the line, run a 5K or 4K, and then the boys, and then we come back home again. It's kind of a fun one to end the season on for some of these kids because sometimes they put a little pressure on them with EDC. That's a conference meet. And what's nice about EDC is everybody gets to run. They have a junior high division, which is nice for these kids to get the feel of what EDC is like. And then after that, we'll have the state athletes, the kids that have run the times to qualify for state.
And that again is at Parkhurst.
Yes.
It's usually at the Parkhurst rec area in Jamestown. Well, they'll have state to show. Okay. Well, it's getting that time of the year for all of our fall sports. We're kind of winding things down a little bit. Is it hard to believe that we're getting to that point? It's like, wow, didn't we just start in August? And here it is, end of September.
Yeah,
and the weather's, I think, that's been so accommodating that helps.
Right. It was kind of amazing. On Tuesday in Castleton, it was close to 90 when we were out running. And then we turned around to our meet, and I wore a jacket, a sweatshirt, and a T-shirt the whole day, and I was running around. But, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. And it's going to be warm on Saturday, but last night when we finished, I said, this is going to be the temperature on Saturday. Yep. I mean, we just went through this whole workout, and you made it. So you're fine.
You're ready. You're good to go.
As long as they hydrate and take care of themselves, they're fine.
All right. Well, Coach, appreciate it again, and look forward to talking here next week. And good luck here in Grand Forks on Saturday.
Thank you.
You bet. Coach Jeb Bilkey joining us here from the Highlander Cross Country. Back to wrap things up here on Coach's Corner in the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highland Activity Network as we get ready to wrap up the show today. And Coach Cynthia Clable from volleyball and Coach Travis Engen here from football were unable to join us this morning because of duties that they had here getting ready for the school day. And, of course, they are teachers, so they do have to get ready for the school day. And so, but let's talk a little bit volleyball, of course. They have been playing very well. They defeated Grand Forks Central here the other night here at the Hack, winning in straight sets. They're now 4-4 in conference play, 10-4 overall. Gonna in the middle of the pack. They're at Grand Forks Wood River tonight, and then coming up next week they'll have Fargo South will be the next home meet here coming up on the 1st of October. So that'll be the next home meet for the Highliners here at the Hack. Football team, of course, a homecoming week and a great homecoming week for Valley City. 27-20 victory over Fargo South in a big game that the Highlanders really needed to win just to get into the right frame of mind, get that confidence going. And the Highlanders came up and played very well against Fargo South, winning 27-20. Now 1-3 on the season. They have not played Western schools yet. That'll be coming up this week. They'll start their West Region schedule at Jamestown. Of course, the Highlanders in Class A are in the West Region this year, and they will be at Jamestown to take on the Blue Jays Friday night. Going back to last Friday's win, of course, several records were set for the Highlanders as Bryson Heck set the career passing yardage record, career touchdown record, also added to his record for career completions. And so he had a great game, 242 yards passing. And Corbin Powell, 4 catches for 170 yards, and that set a new school record for yardage in a single game. Broke the old record by 39 yards, the old record of 131 by Brad Elliott back in 2003. And Corbin Powell, of course, had that big 80-yard touchdown. He had a 39-yard touchdown in the game on Friday night. All the way around, it was a great night for Highlander football and a big win on homecoming, 27-20. Now they head to Jamestown to take on the Blue Jays here on Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. And then the Highlanders will be back home in a couple of weeks. But on the road against the Blue Jays, the Iron Helmet game coming up here on Friday night. And so that's going to wrap things up here on Coach's Corner. And, of course, we want to thank our guests here, Matt Nielsen, coach of volleyball tennis, Tyler Van Bruggen, coach from Highlander Golf, and Deb Bilke, coach from Valley City Cross Country. And, of course, we always thank you, our viewers, joining us here on YouTube on this Thursday morning. And we'll be back again next week. And, of course, thanking our camera operator, technical director, Ray Nelson, joining us here this morning as well. We'll be back with another edition of Coach's Corner coming up next Thursday here on the Highland Activity Network.